Economists tell us, spend the money, invest the money for those who need it the most, because they will spend it. It will be a stimulus, or at least a stabilization and that's a good thing.
The argument is over how much is appropriate at this particular juncture as we struggle to get the economy back.
According to state officials in Connecticut, healthcare workers, grocery store employees, and private sector employees who staffed vital services during the first 2 years of the crisis can begin applying for up to $1,000. It won't be clear until early October where the applicants will receive as much as $1,000, and that's because legislators and the governor, Ned Lamont, allocated just $30 million for the program. He said that Connecticut's essential workers have gone above and beyond during the crisis to keep the state running and safe. The new premium pay program is another way for us to return the favor, for these funds are truly meaningful. Every essential worker needs to know that they're available. To be eligible, an applicant must have worked between March 10th and May 7th of 2022 in one of these occupations that the state has listed. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel. Eligible applicants must earn at least. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel, food and agricultural workers, grocery store staff, and public transit workers. Applicants must earn less than $150,000 per year and cannot be employed by a federal or state entity. Full-time workers who earn less than $100,000 can apply for a $1,000 grant. Those earning more than $100,000 but less than $150,000 are eligible for grants on a sliding scale, ranging as low as $200. Part-timers working less than 30 hours a week can apply for a $500 grant. The application period will run until October 1st, and the goal is to process requests within a 60-day window. And for the company of Lowe's, the CEO said that in recognition of high inflation, we're providing $55 million in bonuses to our hourly frontline associates this quarter. And though there has been a slight decrease in gas and travel costs, recently the impacts of inflation are still affecting Americans, making it tougher for families to afford groceries and other essential goods. Microsoft, ExxonMobil, Walmart, USA have also offered bonuses, pay raises, and even gift cards to employees. But still, many of the nation's employers are still not paying their workers a living wage. The company website states that Lowe's employs around 300,000 associates, but it is not specified how much money each worker will receive and over what time period.
Between the White House administration and Democrats up on Capitol Hill. Earlier today, both the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and the Senate Republican leader, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, were on CNBC, and they explained really the fundamental philosophical dilemma here, which is all about how much is the U.S. government going to spend. Here's what they said.
Back on its feet and get the country in a place where it can sustain itself until we get a vaccine.
Now, Melissa, lawmakers had talked about an idea of having a deal by Friday morning. It looks like there's not a whole lot of time to pull something that big together by that timeline. But one of the questions about this meeting on Capitol Hill that's going on now is, can they at least agree to that price tag? Can they come up with a figure? Republicans have been around $1 trillion. Democrats have been $3 trillion or higher. Can they agree on a compromise figure? Can they just simply call it $2 trillion and start negotiating about what's going to be in there? That might be something that's doable this hour, but we'll wait and see what they say when they come out of those closed doors.
That Friday deadline is tomorrow Friday, right, Eamon? Not next Friday, not the following. It's tomorrow Friday. Right. And then the Senate goes on a scheduled recess.
Right. So the idea that they're going to have something by tomorrow is looking increasingly far-fetched, I think you can say.
And the Senate would still go to recess?
Yeah, look, there's a possibility that they can bring them back if they have a deal in place. So it would take, there's one thing to get a deal and a handshake all around. Then you have to actually put the legislation together in writing. That can take a couple days, and then you have to call the members back and get them to actually vote. That can take a couple days. So even if they get it, say they were to have an incredibly successful meeting behind closed doors now, you're looking at, nearly a week before you can actually pass something that the president can sign. Right.
Eamon, thank you. Eamon Javers.
You bet.
These senators have no concept of the word deadline, Guy Adami. It's amazing.
No.
We've known that Friday was coming for days now, for weeks now, for months, and yet here we are.
But that's historically been the case,
Yeah.
right? And it's I mean, say what you want about the president, but this has worked out perfectly for him and the administration. And I say that because, you know, if this thing doesn't get through, he will say, look at the obstructionist Democrats. They don't want to give you, the American people, your money. Can you imagine that? Vote for me. And if it gets through, he'll say, look what I did for you beautiful people. Your favorite president has gotten you your money. So it's a win-win absolutely for the administration for what it's worth. And I think at some point it's a win for the market as well, because both sides need this to get done. So they can, all the rhetoric they want, Mitch McConnell can play fiscal conservative, which is a joke, but this will get done whether it's tomorrow or next week. I don't think it really matters all that much.
Let's say something gets done, Steve Grasso. What is the reaction in the markets tomorrow? They come out tonight, late tonight, with some announcement. We got a deal. What happens tomorrow?
Market rallies.
Really?
Madam President, have you ever gone out to eat at a restaurant with a group of people, but your order was cheaper than everyone else's? Maybe you weren't as hungry, or the restaurant the group picked was more expensive than you could afford, so you were selective about what you ordered. Then when the check comes, someone suggests the group split it evenly. Now what's your immediate reaction? You're upset, of course, because you ordered the salad, not the filet mignon, or you drank water, not the expensive bottle of wine. You ordered what you wanted, and they ordered what they wanted. You shouldn't be on the hook for their cost. Sadly, Madam President, this illustration is far too real, as last month Joe Biden announced that he would cancel billions of dollars in student loans. Now let's be clear, he isn't canceling student debt. No, he's transferring that debt to every American taxpayer. Now, a construction worker in Florida is having to foot the bill for the loans of a Harvard grad, which they voluntarily accepted for the education they received. So here's what Democrats are trying to say to that construction worker. You didn't go to college? Democrats don't care. You'll pay the debt of lawyers and doctors. And you'll pay for those who want PhDs in poetry. Talk about poetic injustice. You went to community college or a state school and worked to graduate debt-free. Tough luck. Joe Biden wants you to pay for the advanced degrees of the privileged few. Your tax dollars are now the money pot for other people's student debt. Of course, Joe Biden's plan doesn't even begin to address the real reason of rising higher education costs. That is universities' decades-long practice of unnecessarily raising tuition. As governor of Florida, I addressed that problem.
Where was he then? Well, he endorsed the Trump administration's plan to cut taxes for corporations, and he celebrated those tax breaks for the richest among us. He wasn't worried about how taxpayers would pay that off, not a word about the fairness for all the people who would bear that burden, so long as the benefits went mostly to the rich and the powerful. Senator Scott has basically laid it all out there for America to see, and that's the difference. Helping billionaires or helping working families. And that difference pretty much sums up Republican and Democratic difference